My name is Barbara Waldfogel. I'm a psychotherapist at the Ross Center in New York City and a member of the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. I'm here today to give you a brief introduction to acceptance and commitment therapy, the model of psychotherapy that I practice and wholeheartedly endorse. So what is acceptance and commitment therapy? The acronym for acceptance and commitment therapy is ACT. ACT is an evidence-based model of behavioral psychotherapy backed by decades of rigorous scientific research. The founder of ACT is Stephen Hayes. He and numerous contextual behaviorists have continually expanded the model, and it has grown dramatically in the wake of 9/11. ACT is used to address problems and diagnoses from anxiety, OCD, major depression, to PTSD, relationship conflict, complicated grief, psychosis even. ACT therapists who treat adolescents and adults are available across continents. The World Health Organization has embraced ACT with a detailed publication calling Doing What Matters in Times of Stress, and an audio version called Self-Help to provide ACT strategies to refugees suffering the effects of violence and war has been made available in over 20 languages. So acceptance and commitment therapy involves three basic sets of processes or strategies that help to foster psychological flexibility, another word for behavioral health. Okay, so there are three major processes that your ACT therapist would be looking at to work with you on. The first, on the bottom of your screen, you'll see on the bottom left-hand side is acceptance. Acceptance refers to opening up to thoughts, feelings, situations that you have no control over. It is the process by which you learn to unhook from the urge to avoid or fight with the pain and discomfort and thoughts. At the top of your screen, you'll see connecting to the present. ACT is a mindfulness-based approach to behavioral therapy. And in order to unhook from any urges to avoid or fight with pain, it's also important to pivot from the past and worries about the future to the current situation with objectivity and new perspective. On the bottom right of your screen, you'll see a process called Doing What Matters. This is the commitment part of acceptance and commitment therapy. And this is basically how you want to live, doing what matters, living according to your values and acting in the direction of who you want to be. ACT is culturally tailored to fit you. And regardless of your sexuality, religion, ethnicity, nation of origin, ACT is inherently able to fit to who you are and who you want to be. So why ACT? I've used psychodynamic therapy early in my career, cognitive behavior therapy, and I started using ACT about 5 or 6 years ago. I find it to be user-friendly, intuitive, easy to learn, and highly effective. The best way to explain why ACT is effective is to use a simple metaphor. So what if you fell into quicksand? Many of you might know how you get out of quicksand, but our instinct would be to try to swim, flail our arms, fight the sand in order to get out. Unfortunately, that would ensure that you're going to sink. The same is true if you get fused with or hooked by negative thoughts, feelings, and worries. The more time you spend thinking you're not good enough, you fail, the future is bleak, catastrophes are going to happen, the more you have an urge to procrastinate, the deeper you're pulled into the mud. So getting stuck in the quicksand is a great metaphor for describing what it feels like to be hooked by fear, sadness, despair, self-judgment, and chronic worry. ACT helps you to figure out how to get to where you want to go in the face of the urge to avoid pain. It sounds paradoxical, But the closer you get, the more in touch you are with your distressful thoughts and feelings. In other words, the mud, the less it controls you. So, going back to our metaphor, laying gently with all of your body right upon the quicksand allows you to survive and indeed make your way back to shore. The aim of ACT is to get you where you want to go by letting go of the struggle and finding effective ways to diffuse the power of a bullying mind and very real environmental obstacles. So, how do you figure out who do you want to be? I will often say to clients during my initial intake session, so if I had a magic wand and therapy works, what will you be doing in the future after therapy is finished that you are not doing now? Let's try that with this video. Why are you watching this? If I am helpful to you, what would I be able to see you doing in the near future with the information you've gained here today? To answer that question, ask yourself, what values brought you here? Was it a desire for knowledge? Are you experiencing problems in certain areas of your life that you'd like to address, but you don't know what therapy to engage in? Are you trying to decide between CBT, ACT, EMDR, relational therapy, exposure therapy, because you've heard that all of these are effective, but you don't know, what they are? Will you reach out to try to find an ACT therapist? Many clients will say during their initial intake, what if there is something wrong with me? And the critical mean self-judgments I say to myself are actually true. ACT assumes that negativity bias in our minds is normal. Through evolution, we've developed predictive minds and judgmental minds that aim to protect us. Anxiety, depression, anger, and efforts to get rid of unwanted memories, thoughts, and feelings is not pathological. Our minds are really trying to help, but often the default mode of our minds includes negativity, obsession, rumination, and avoidance of discomfort. So ACT works in a way to upgrade our operating systems and the language in our minds. Being willing to have distress from unhelpful thoughts and feelings frees our attention to allow us to behave the way we would like. But to do what matters, it's important to learn strategies for unhooking or diffusing from our instinct to fight with or get rid of emotional pain. So, if you would like to have an ACT therapist, there are many ways to do that. You can go to the ADAA, find a therapist, drop-down menu. You can go to Psychology Today, find a therapist, or you can go to the Association for Contextual Behavioral Science, ACBS, and use their drop-down menu to find a therapist, to find someone in your zip code or city. I hope you found this information on ACT helpful, and on behalf of the ADAA, thanks for watching.